Good afternoon. Today I'm going to show you a few roses that you haven't had a chance to see in my last video. I'm going to start with Sir David Beckham rose. This is David Austin's new rose for this year, and you had a chance to see it already in my video from Chelsea and in my video from David Austin Rose Gardens. In David Austin Gardens, you can see this rose planted in two places. You can see it planted in a pot in the patio garden, which you can see in my video around 10th minute. And you can see it also planted in the Victorian garden. This is the garden that you can see at the end of my video from David Austin Gardens. So when I went to David Austin Gardens, I went there at the end of a very, very hot week. So if you want to see how this rose is doing in the hot weather, it's worth probably looking at that video. In my garden, this rose is planted in the shade, and it's not exposed so much to the sun, and it's also not exposed too much to the rain because it's planted underneath the generous garden rose. I'll show you. So those leaves protect it a little bit from any torrential rain we may have here. When I went to David Austin Garden, some roses didn't look very good because of the hot weather. So also, like, if you want to see which roses from David Austin look well in the heat, you can just go back to this video. Two roses that I really liked in David Austin Gardens, and I don't have, is the rose Penelope Lively, and then Bring Me Sunshine. I've seen those roses planted in a few places, and everywhere they looked amazing. I also liked Elizabeth for fragrance. Yeah, that was also very nice rose. Like, if I stood by it, like this, the fragrance was really, very strong. Two roses that didn't look very good in David Austin Gardens were Olivia Rose Austin and the Queen of Sweden. They were planted also in a few places, and most of those roses, they didn't look very good. My friend, she's got Queen of Sweden in a pot and in a shade in her garden, and looked much, much better than the ones we've seen in David Austin. Well, I'm only mentioning this, that if you want to see like which roses from David Austin do well in the heat, maybe it's worth looking at that video. So coming back to Sir David Beckham, I had a chance obviously to see it in Chelsea, and I did really like how it looked in Chelsea. I haven't had a chance to really see a lot of my blooms in my garden because, well, I go to work and most of the day I am not at home. And I think those looks to me like those blooms actually are closing in the evening and they open during the day. They are very nice, and they've got a very delicate light fragrance. And when I say delicate, I don't mean it in a bad way. It is present, you can feel the fragrance. It's just not very strong in a way. It's not overwhelming. It's just delicate, but in a good way. When I went to Chelsea, it was very difficult to see what the fragrance is on different roses because there were a lot of roses, a lot of people, a very crowded space. Obviously some people were wearing their own fragrances, so it was just very difficult to feel the fragrance of the flowers. But I really liked the fragrance of Sarah David Beckham. Two other roses that stood out for me for fragrance were Gabriel Oak from David Austin, and yeah, I could see a lot of people actually saying a lot of nice things about the fragrance of Gabriel Oak, and I think you can even hear some of those comments in my video from Chelsea. And there was one rose from Peter Beals, Sagran, that also I really liked the scent. It was very strong, and considering like the environment, how difficult it was actually, you know, when it comes to fragrance. Last thing I wanted to add is that if you remember, when I was doing the unboxing, I said that this rose doesn't have many thorns, and if you look at the stems, yes, that's true, there are not many thorns on the stems. However, there is some barbing underneath the leaves, so you do need to be careful when dealing with this rose, because I learned that the hard way when planting Sir David Beckham, and yeah, I got caught with some of the thorns which were underneath the leaves. But overall, like, for now, I'm pleased with this rose. Yeah, so we will see how this rose will be doing in the future. Yeah, so that's David Beckham rose. And then it's quite in the shade because it is planted underneath my generous gardener rose, which has got long branches. Then next rose I wanted to show you. Okay, so here's my Princess Charlene of Monaco. Very nice rose, big blooms. They turn white as they get older, but they start with kind of this peachy pinky shades. The stems are very long and straight, so I think this is quite a good flower to cut and take it home. Actually, already had a chance to take some home, and I was really happy with how long they lasted. Although when at the time when I cut them, they were already going over, so they still lasted quite a few days in my house, so I was happy with that. I'm not sure about fragrance because on the Mayon website it says that the fragrance is gentle, so it says gentle fragrance, but on other websites that help me find, it says that the fragrance is strong. So I don't know what to think about the fragrance so far. I am not picking up too much fragrance from this rose when I'm standing next to it. I actually need to put my nose in the flower to feel the scent. It seems very citrusy, lemony to me. So we see if I will be more impressed with the fragrance of this rose as the time goes by. Okay. Now this is my Wallerton Old Hall, and then I stopped at heading it because I will be trying to see if I can get more rose hips on this rose this year. I really like the flowers on this rose. Here you can see two of my corduses. So this one is Spicy Perfuma, or another name is Großherzogin Louise. Very beautiful rose. As the name suggests, it is a fragrant rose. And here you can see Bliss. That's also Goddess Rose from the Fairy Tale collection. Also beautiful blooms. Lots of buds. This year, actually, a few flowers broke off on my spicy perfumer. Well, partly probably because of the strong winds we had recently, but also if you look at it, look how thin the stem is, and the flowers are actually quite big. So we've got here thin stems and big flowers. This one, have a look. It's quite small, but it's already dangling down rather than just stand upright. So if you imagine this flower will be getting bigger and bigger, and there is a risk it will break. So it happened here with a few of these for me so far. I do like both of these roses. The only problem I've got with them is that they grow taller than I would like them to. So both of them are almost as tall as I am. So they are probably like around 160 centimeters. And then I'm not sure why, because at the beginning of the season I pruned them very, very low. Almost raise them to the ground, so they do want to grow tall for me for some reason, and I'm not sure why, because I've got the same problem with Champagne Moment. And when I've seen Champagne Moment in some other videos on YouTube, it seems to grow much smaller compared to mine. So I don't know why. I don't know, maybe too much fertilizer or something. I don't know. Well, I wish they were just shorter. Well, I am happy with the flowers. I am. They do look beautiful, don't they? Both on Bliss. And on Spicy Perfumer. And there is lots of them. Okay. I also wanted to show you Crimson Cascade today, which is in full bloom now. It was bred by Friars and it was introduced in 1991. It is 3 years in my garden now. The blooms are quite big, about 10 centimeters in diameter, and they are dark red, velvety. We had a lot of heat recently in UK, followed by rainy days. So if you look, some flowers, they don't look very good, a bit burnt, but overall this rose is quite good dealing with all types of weather. On the website it says it can reach 3 meters in height. This one is about 250 centimeters tall. Also on the website it says light fragrance, but I don't really pick up any fragrance from this rose. But I really like the look of flowers. The canes are quite thick and thorny, so it's not easy to train this rose. I would say it's probably best if you want to grow it by tall wall or really tall fence. It's not the best rose if you've got a small garden or not enough space for it. So that's Crimson Cascade. You can see here even a little bit of water still. Like I said, a few days of rain. And this beautiful rose here is Nostalgia from Tanto. This rose is 3 years in my garden now, and I think this is the best year for this rose. So beautiful flowers, white and cherry color. No fragrance, but the flowers are lasting quite long. And we had some rains recently, and they did soak up well to the rain. Leaves also very nice, glossy, dark green. I had powder mildew on this rose in the first year, but since then no other issues similar, no other issues like that. Next rose in my garden that is in full bloom is the Pilgrim by David Austin. This rose is 2 years in my garden, and some canes are as long as 3 meters long. I really like those lemon rosettes. Beautiful flowers born in sprays on long canes. It is definitely a climber that makes me really happy. Look at those flowers, beautiful. And still lots of buds on this rose. Next rose we're going to look at is Gabriel Oak. 3 years in my garden, not a very tall shrub, grows slowly for me. This rose got a lot of compliments in Chelsea Flower Show from the viewers for its fragrance. Very nice, strong fragrance. David Austin gives it 5. And then next to Gabriel Oak, we've got Mauritia. Mauritia is a Tanta rose. I bought it last year, and last year I didn't have even one flower. I think they got a bit scorched in the sun, and then it just didn't flower at all. The buds, I think, started open, and then we had a few hot days. They just got burnt, and not even one flower grew for me from that point on, the whole season. So this you actually have a chance to see the flowers for the first time. Very nice light pink color. This is a rose from Tanta called White Berry. It was introduced in 2018. I bought it last November as a bare root, and it has got already grown quite tall. It has got quite flat flowers in all the shades of white berry. So the outside petals are a bit darker, and then it goes to soft pink in the middle. The buds are red. The flowers are quite beautiful, however, please remember they are quite flat. Not everyone may like it. So this is white berry.